anti-sports gambling law. This gives individual states the go-ahead to allow betting on sports via existing or new legislation. In baseball, Adrian Beltre did leave his Sunday game against the Astros with a left hamstring injury. It's an aggravation of an injury that landed Beltre on the disabled list at the end of April. We await word on his prognosis. In the NBA, the Warriors and Rockets kick off their Western Conference Final Series tonight. Patrick McCaw is the only player on the injury report for Game 1. Reports out of Cleveland have Tristan Thompson entering the starting lineup for the Cleveland Cavaliers when they take on the Celtics in Game number 2. And Mike Budenholzer has emerged as, quote, the focus of the Milwaukee and Toronto coaching searches, according to Adrian Wojnarowski of ESPN. Budenholzer and the Atlanta Hawks parted ways a few weeks ago. I'm Dan Strafford, and this has been your Fantasy Sports Radio Network News Update.
Stay tuned to the Fantasy Sports Radio Network for more updates at the top of every hour.
It never gets old.
All right, everyone. 2 truths, 1 lie.
I was going to be on The Real World. I play the oboe. And I saved a kid's life.
You definitely never saved a kid's life.
I'm serious. Last summer, I donated bone marrow to a kid who had leukemia.
Saving a life. The truth is, it's easier than you think. Learn how at dkms.org.
Who knew we were living with a hero?
A hero who plays the oboe.
Hey, you, over here. You want to win a DFS? And you want it for just $1? I got Daily Roto here. Now, why do you want it? 2 of the guys behind it have won $1 million. It's not just about the writers. Not 1, not 2, but 3 subscribers have won $1 million too. That's 5 millionaires. 5, count them. And it's not counting the $100,000 winners too. They talk about it in the Slack channel. But why is it $1 right now? Special price for the month of May. Yeah, if you don't like it, then walk away. If you love it and you're winning, keep going. Do I use it? How do you think I afford my massive tracksuit collection? Come on, look at the glitter on this. It's beautiful. You can sort your stats, add your own weights, read articles, distinguish between slates on FanDuel and DraftKings. You gotta go to dailyroto.com and enter code $1. I may just be a creepy guy in a random alley inside your head, but I know what I'm talking about. That's dailyroto.com, code $1. That's it, $1. 1 month, and start winning. Fantasy.
Am I really blacklisted in the league? It's not that they won't trade with you, but
they don't like trade talking.
When they see an offer from you, even before they see the offer, there's skepticism involved. I'll say that.
I mean, that's fair. I mean, there are other guys that happens to as well. I will say this. I think I've gotten better over the years. I think some of the trade offers I've sent out that I've asked you about, I think they've been better.
Frank doesn't run most of his trade offers by me now. It's like, is this bad?
I sent one out the other day where Greg was like, yeah, that's pretty bad.
Weekdays, 2 p.m. Eastern on FNTSY Radio and on your popular podcast providers.
You're listening to the Fantasy Sports Radio Network.
Fantasy Best Friends Forever.
Do 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 do. Yo, this is the Fantasy Best Friends Forever here on the Fantasy Sports Radio Network. Alongside Frankie Stampfl, it's not FST.
No.
And Michael Florio. I am Gregg Sussman. I'll start with Mikey so I can walk around. Mikey, what's going on, man?
Not much. Had a good weekend. I'm gonna kind of talk while so Greg can, do what he's got to do. Saturday, I went out, hung out with Nicolette a lot. Then yesterday, I had softball, did some Mother's Day stuff. That was cool. The Mets had a nice win on Friday night. Bad Sunday. Outside of that, made some interesting pickups in fantasy baseball that I'm sure we will discuss in just a few minutes. As we have a lot to talk about today. There's a lot of players who debuted this weekend, a lot of new people you could pick up, and we're gonna get into all that, aren't we, Greggy?
Yeah, that's the plan for the next, hour or so. Frankie, how was your weekend, man?
Solid weekend, pretty productive, as I told you earlier. Going apartment hunting. So
that was, I didn't know you were gonna make that announcement on the air.
It's a new I didn't even know new step.
Let everybody in on that.
In the life of Frank.
All right.
I mean, why wouldn't I?
Respect, man. All the respect in the world. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I think it's a really big step for you guys, and that's awesome. Seriously.
Yeah, no, it was cool. Well, I know you went to the Yankee game
I did.
Friday.
I went to the game Friday night.
Sonny Gray was Sonny Gray.
Sonny Gray was definitely Sonny Gray.
He sucked.
Yeah, he was bad. It was cool. The seats, as Ian kind of described, weren't great. So we took care of that very easily as we walked into the stadium. We never actually went up to our seats. And so we stood in like the standing room only section for about an inning or so.
Like behind the bleachers?
Mm-hmm. Okay. Exactly. Then we went and grabbed some food. We were on that. If you notice, that's kind of like on the 200 level. So we walked around and just walked to some seats, and that's where we sat for the rest of the game.
Where were they? What section?
209-ish.
They just weren't checking tickets?
That stairwell had no guard, so we walked right down.
Oh, sneaky Greg.
I'm being very honest. I'm just very,
Hey, kudos to you.
So then Saturday, I watched the Yankee game. I donated a bunch of clothes to Salvation Army.
Nice.
And then I went and had dinner with my mom for Mother's Day weekend. Then we went out and celebrated Mother's Day with like the rest of my family in Long Island. And that was it. Big Mother's Day weekend for me.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, no, it was good. It was good. I feel like you guys are waiting for like the joke, but there's no,
No, there's no jokes to be had.
It's Mother's Day. There's no jokes.
No,
Greg.
I agree. Believe me, I agree. I was just waiting for it.
How you feeling, man? A little oiled up today.
I feel good.
Do you feel disgusting?
No.
Like not like like, oh, today I feel gross.
Right.
Like does your body feel
I know
disgusting?
like I should feel disgusting, but like I don't. Is that weird?
I think we found a new thing that Greggy's gonna be into, man. Like
I don't think it's
baby oil fetish Greg.
I think Greggy is gonna
Come here,
enjoy
Judy.
Listen,
like he's gonna oh, you guys dare me to put baby oil all over my body again?
Well, listen. Let's
do it. You won't do it.
Let's be very clear to those that didn't see Carton's show. We told him about what we did on Friday with me doing the baby oil arms as a wrestler, and he said I have to go all the way with it. I can't, half measure it. So I came up here, and I felt a little bit more comfortable because there wasn't like a million people eating lunch as there were Friday. Like Friday, the restaurant was packed outside.
Yeah.
It's a little bit different now, and it's a little bit about. It's a little bit different this morning. So I took my shirt off. We heard the baby oil everywhere. Basically, what we did on BFFs, what we said we'd do on BFFs, had some entrance music, had the belt. It was awesome. I don't want to do that every day. I felt disgusting immediately following it. Like I wiped myself down quite a bit. But it's a few hours later now. I'm good.
I commended you for doing it. I thought it was very funny.
You texted me. You said, good job. Frank said, good job.
I was just disappointed that you didn't do it on BFFs, but you did it on someone else.
Listen, I'll say this. If it was like this, where there's nobody outside eating lunch, I would have done it. But on Friday, it was packed.
All right, what are the chances we get you to do it again on BFFs right now?
No. I did it once already today.
All right, tomorrow.
No. Tell me I won't. I love baby oil.
Give me the baby oil. I'm doing it.
No. I did. Listen, I have said that I would do it. I would do it. I'm sure there's certain things that we can call you guys out. Like Frank said, he could eat 40 nuggets. He tried.
I tried.
But we did it.
I still feel like I could do it.
Mike doesn't really say many things that he doesn't think he can do. Although, he did eat. What was the thing that he was going to eat?
I ate the peanut butter sandwich.
Oh, he ate the peanut butter sandwich. All right.
Yeah.
So we're all mad about words. That's what BFFs are.
Yeah.
Listen, love
and
it.
then I ended up eating salads anyway. So
yeah, now you like salad.
I paid up my side of the bed anyway.
Love it. Do you like peanut butter now?
No.
Okay.
No. I mean, I still don't like salads.
You eat a lot of salad today. Now.
I eat salad almost every day. I haven't eaten a single thing of peanut butter since that sandwich.
I had a crazy lunch today.
Maybe like once or twice a week I'll hit up a salad.
I had a crazy lunch today.
Still gross.
I had a wild burger that you guys both hate. A lot of mushrooms. It was really with truffles, but they're made
a lot of
mushrooms.
baby oil.
That's a BJG. It's a bad job.
It was an unbelievable job I made.
Do you think any of the baby oil soaked out of your hands into the buns?
I hope not.
I had a pretty good burger last week.
It was a prosciutto bun.
Nice.
What?
Prosciutto bun.
That sounds awesome.
I told you.
I've never had it. But
Me either. Never heard of it until I ate it.
Yeah, it must be nice to eat rich buns on your burgers. Oh,
Greg's not rich, he's wealthy.
let me get a prosciutto bun. Like, what is this? How rich do you have to be to get a prosciutto bun?
No idea. It's awesome.
Well, you tell us.
I don't know. It's wild. Let's get into some baseball. I know everyone appreciates our food stories and our weekends and whatnot, but you're also here for the baseball. I'm going to start with the biggest news that no one's really talking about, and that's the fact that Robinson Cano broke his hand.
Yes.
Like, that sucks.
Poor Mike Florio.
So,
God damn.
It takes 3 or 4 days in the Great Fantasy Baseball Invitational.
Can you protest your own trade?
No. So actually, Justin Mason, who is the commissioner, put together this whole league that Greg rejected to be a part of. He sent out an email today that trades, he says he's against in-season changes, but he might change it where trade doesn't have to take 3 or 4 days to go through the whole voting process. And I think, not to kind of toot my own horn, I think my trade had a lot to do with that because I had yesterday after he got hurt, I posted on Twitter. I was like, today was literally this morning it went through that I have Robinson Cano. Tomorrow will be the first day I could use him. He broke his hand today. And people who don't even follow me but are in the participate in this league started messaging me and they were like, where this sucks for you. Trades take way too long to go through in this league. So Justin as commissioner is kind of trying to fix that issue. But yeah, it sucks because I just acquired him a couple days ago. He's going to go tomorrow to get another opinion. It looks like he's heading towards surgery, and you have to imagine at the very least he's out for what, a month, 2 months?
8 weeks is what inside injuries has him.
Yeah.
I think 6 to 8 weeks is probably
that's a month
fair
and a half
assessment.
to 2 months. That sucks.
Yeah, and it's not like there's no one player that really gains a lot of value out of this. Obviously, they have D. Gordon in center field. They can slide him back to second base if they wanted to. But as of right now, they have Andrew Romine as his backup. They're calling up Gordon Beckham.
They came out apparently and said that D. Gordon will not be leaving center field. That is his position.
I agree with that decision, right? If you're going to make him a center fielder, you're going to go through with that. I think you just leave him there and you kind of let that play out. You find a second base replacement.
You know what's amazing by that statement? How hypocritical it is.
Okay.
It's unbelievably hypocritical.
Hit me.
Because you're taking a guy that's converted from shortstop and second base to outfield, right?
Yep.
You're saying that, listen, he converted to a new position. You got to leave him there. You don't give him a shot at second base. He just learned this position. You want him to become amazing at this position. You don't want to disrupt anything else. Leave him in the outfield, right?
Yes, sir.
That's what you have just said.
Yes, sir.
What happened when Rougned Odor went down? What did you say? Was there a certain prospect in the minors that converted from second base to outfield that you wanted to move back to second base?
This is not hypocritical because Willie Calhoun is a garbage outfielder. D. Gordon plays a little bit better outfield than Willie Calhoun. He's a lot faster than Willie Calhoun as well. I mean, part of the reason why Willie Calhoun is not up at the majors is because he is a terrible, terrible outfielder. He
was the worst second baseman.
He also hasn't been hitting for power.
No, he hasn't.
Which is strange.
If you wanted to find a way to get his bat in the lineup and that meant putting him at second base, that's just the case that I was making for him. D. Gordon's going to play no matter what. And if you wanted to make this transition for him to the outfield, I think you just kind of leave him there and you rock with it. And I mean, I'm a little partial to Willie Calhoun, but it's to me, it's not the same thing at least.
Speaking of,
I was just gonna say, I think Taylor Motter is a name to keep an eye on there. He could get time at second base last year. 7 home runs, 12 stolen bases. Has displayed more power than that though in the minor leagues. So
speaking of the minor leagues, and speaking of dudes in AAA in particular, Franmil Reyes was called up by the Padres, and I know when we talked about him last night, or Frank sent the email out last night, and I remember in my leagues I got text messages about this, tweets about it as well.
BJY. Bad job, Yahoo. Very bad job, Yahoo. He's not even in the player pool.
No, it is a bad job.
It's a terrible job,
There's
Greg.
no way you can defend that.
You can't defend it.
I can't defend it.
How do you call yourself a legitimate fantasy baseball website? Somebody who, in our other league, in GST, just got picked up for $140 out of a $1,000 fab budget is not available on Yahoo player pool. It's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous.
So this is a dude that was mashing in AAA, not part of the top 30 prospects for San Diego. Now, I'm not defending Yahoo. I'm just explaining, they can put whoever they want in there, obviously. They clearly do this before the season begins. They load up their system with, I'm assuming, the top 30 prospects of every team. He wasn't in it. And he's surprising you, having an amazing, amazing year. I get it. But that's probably why. Now, this is a guy that was not on anybody's radar 2 months ago. There's a lot of guys like that in MLB, right? Carlos Villanueva comes to mind, obviously. Over's last 36, but he was off to a hot start. He was not on anybody's radar. This kid's not on anybody's radar, but he's mashed the first 2 months. Will he do that in the big show as well, Florio? Or is this a guy that's going to be turned into immediately into a quad A player?
I don't think we can truly answer that question. We have to kind of watch it. I will say, from what he has done at the minor league level, you have to be very intrigued with the upside. My only concern with him is playing time, because right now you already have to imagine Manny Margot's been hitting a little bit better as of late. He's probably locked into center field. Franchi Cordero's been real hot. He's going to play every day. for some reason they like Travis Jankowski. Maybe, that's who loses the playing time. But what about when Will Myers comes back? So there's three outfielders right there. Hunter Renfroe is going to come back and be in this mix as well. So playing time is my lone concern. To spend 15% of a budget on a kid who a couple of days ago none of us knew who he was. That to me, that's too rich for my blood, especially because, like I keep saying, where is he going to play if and when this team is fully healthy? And right now, where is he going to play every single day? Is Jankowski going to completely come out of the mix? Are they going to just kind of piece him and give Margot a day off here, give Cordero a day off here? So that to me is my concern. But what he has done at the minor league level is very intriguing. He walks. This year, at least, he's been walking at a good clip, 14 home runs in 36 games, and he's shown in the years past the ability to steal a handful of bases. So there is a lot of fantasy upside there, but I do think there are concerns as well.
I agree 100% about the playing time, but you're looking at a San Diego Padres offense, which is fourth worst in baseball in terms of runs scored this season. So I think they're just looking for a spark any way that they can find it. They don't have a lot of power in that lineup. Eric Hosmer, the big offseason acquisition, he can be a 25 home run guy, but once Will Myers' bat went down, they kind of lost that another 30 home run bat in there. So I think they're just trying to find any spark here. I agree. I would not throw 15% on this guy by any means, but a couple of bucks, I think that's fair because I do think that he has immense upside just based on what we've seen. I think you want to take a shot, and that if he comes up and he starts hitting right away, maybe he sticks in the lineup. Like, if he hits, they're going to find a way to keep his bat in the lineup. I actually figured him out like a week or two ago. I did what Nando does, and I went onto milb.com, and I just looked at like the leaders. And this guy,
what was that?
Milb, M-I-L-B.
Not what I thought you said.
.com.
Not what I thought you said.
What do you think?
No, it wasn't MILF.com.
I thought Frank
I know
went to
that's what
MILF.com.
you're thinking, but
I know you guys that are watching, listening to this, clearly thought he said MILF.com.
No, you clearly thought it
On
because
Nando's
you are
tutelage.
Gregg Sussman.
You obviously
And you are happy.
On Nando's recommendation, you went to MILF.com. I get it, dude.
Yes, on Nando's recommendation. All right, that's fair. Actually, on your recommendation, I went to MILF.com.
Wasn't my recommendation, it was Nando's.
But he was leading the Pacific Coast League in a bunch of hitting categories. He still leads them in home runs, still leads them in RBIs, and leads them in OPS. So while it is the PCL, he's above the rest there. And if you just look at the batted ball profile, what he's done this year, he's just completely like reinvented himself. He's spraying to all fields. He's going oppo. He's going center more. He's not just pulling the ball. Lowered his strikeout rate. He has increased his walk rate by over 5%. So really looks like he has matured this year as a hitter. I think the Padres just want to see what they have in the kid. If he hits, I think he's going to stay in the lineup.
I think it's very possible. Listen,
Yep.
they're going to absolutely see what they have in this kid. They're going to see if he can get hot, provide them some power, even for a short period of time. Like we saw the Nationals call it Mark Reynolds, who did a bunch of home runs for them already out of nowhere, right? So, like, that's what they're looking for. You're looking for a bit of a spark to try to let a fire under this offense. They're going to give this kid an opportunity to do just that.
But where my concern comes from with that, and I don't disagree with you guys, but Manny Margot is still super young.
Sure.
Cordero is super young.
Yep.
Will Myers is a franchise player.
Mm-hmm.
Like, which one of those guys is going to get completely like taken out of the equation if Reyes is hitting this well?
Well, we've already saw it happen once this year with Franchi Cordero.
Correct.
He struggled, and then, he was relegated to the bench, got sent back down. Like, I don't think they care much about Jankowski, so that's why I think Franmil Reyes will play right now. There is going to be a concern once Will Myers comes back, absolutely. But
I think they'll figure it out when that happens.
Yes, and like we say, it's cliche for fantasy, but these things usually do figure themselves out. If he sucks, he's just going to go right back down to the minor leagues.
Not to bring it all back to the Yankees, which I'll do. But I think it's the same thing, right? With Miguel Andujar and Neil Walker and Tyler Austin at first base, like they're gonna figure this stuff out. Like Tyler Austin stopped hitting, so Neil Walker's the first baseman now.
I don't
when Greg
wanna,
Bird comes back, they'll figure it out.
I don't want to poo-poo that, but like we often do say these things usually figure themselves out.
They do.
But like, look at Milwaukee.
Well, they're stupid. I don't know what to tell you.
Like they've had injuries and yet still can't get all these guys regular playing time, and that makes them not fantasy relevant.
I understand. I don't disagree with that.
The Brewers hitters are a lot better than the Padres hitters.
But there's still only 3 outfield positions for like 6 guys that could be in this equation.
Let's take a break here. We'll come back. We gotta give you an update on the Angels closing situation, the White Sox as well, an injury update on the boy Blake Snell, and some start sit-ems for this week. Stick around. More on the way. BFFs continue right after this.
The Fan
National Football League is making fantasy football a reality. Like a real-life version of Madden, fans will vote on all personnel decisions and play calls in real time. And what the fan says goes. Visit fcfl.io to learn more. The FCFL, where you're in control.
With ThermoSpa's unique built-in thermofiltration system, you simply fill it with a garden hose and your water stays crystal clear with very little maintenance.
Right now, they're offering 0% APR financing with approved credit and a $1,250 savings coupon. Call ThermoSpas today at 800-603-6422 for your free DVD videos and brochure. That's 800-603-6422. Call 800-603-6422 today to take advantage of 0% APR financing.
Weekend Fantasy Update.
Somebody in my league came to me and offered me Reynaldo Lopez, starting pitcher for the White Sox, and Evan Longoria for Brandon Morrow. What does that deal do for you? Anything?
Well, it's not a bad offer.
It's not insulting, no.
It depends how badly you need a third baseman with Longoria, I think he's got 7 home runs. The power is somewhat there. He's on pace for 25 or so, which is nice. Lopez, a guy who has talent, maybe not going to realize it for a season or two, but maybe you can do a counter offer here and maybe get a little bit better starting pitches where I would look at.
Saturdays, 3 p.m. Eastern on FNTSY Radio and on your popular podcast providers.
This is PBA President Pat Lynch. Allow me to tell you what life is like for our cop families. Every day our husbands and wives, mothers and fathers, daughters and sons are hoping and praying. They're hoping there's no knock at the door, praying they never hear those terrible words. You need to get to the hospital. We have a car waiting. In May 1971, the families of police officers Waverly Jones and Joseph Piagentini heard those words. They heard that Waverly and Joe were never coming home because a gang of terrorists assassinated them in cold blood. Nothing would bring our heroes back, but at least these families knew the killers were behind bars for life. Until now. The New York State Parole Board has already released cop killer Herman Bell. His accomplice, Anthony Bottom, is up for parole next month. Help us fight for these families who have sacrificed so much for us. Visit nycpba.org and click on Keep Cop Killers in Jail. Tell the parole board that cop killers should never walk our neighborhood streets again. That's nycpba.org.
So I was with my cousin yesterday. We were doing a whole Mother's Day thing. And this was the song. We were in Baskin Robbins picking up ice cream cake. So the song plays. It was like, oh, this is by Hanson. Like, do you know them? She is 16 years old. She's a junior in high school. Do you know this? She goes, I've never heard this in my life.
It's the worst feeling, right?
And I'm like, what? She goes, I go, she goes, you don't know who Hanson is? She goes, no, like, should I? And I'm like, they were the Jonas Brothers before the Jonas Brothers. And she's like, oh my God! I'm like, yeah.
So obviously, my girlfriend, she's a therapist. She works with younger girls. And so we're watching the Jersey Shore reunion show now. And so some of these girls have no idea what the Jersey Shore is.
Crazy,
and
right?
it came out like 7 years ago.
Yeah, not even that long ago.
I'm like, what?
How old are the people that Kinga works with? How old are the girls?
Anywhere from like 17 to like mid-20s. So
they should know.
No, but I mean, like, you know, if you're like a teenager, 17, 18, 19, it might have come out when you were like 11 or 12. Like,
I still feel like
you won't know what the hell the Jersey Shore is. Yeah, I find it crazy.
I'm shocked that they. Yeah. I don't know. I don't think there were people out there who didn't know what it was.
Yeah, it's wild.
Greg,
when she told me that,
I have a quick question for you.
Yeah.
Does Judy know that you have twice been lathered in baby oil on air?
I think I told her. I mean, I might not have. But
like, does your family know? Is that a topic of discussion? Like
no.
Yesterday?
No, they don't know.
That would have been great. Mother's Day dinner talk.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not. But like, I'm not like embarrassed by it. I mean,
no, obviously not. You were strutting your stuff.
The show is on my DVR.
But
like I DVR our show every day. So like the Friday show is on the DVR.
I like shirtless Greg. Not gonna lie.
I
appreciate that.
You have to host a show like that one day and
I'm not gonna
just
just
talk
host
in wrestling terms.
So I'm not gonna just host a show topless. That's ridiculous.
Is this guy?
Well, what if we were all topless? Like, it made you feel better.
I'm not like embarrassed in my body.
All right.
Well, I'm not gonna be ashamed about.
Oh, I didn't know why you didn't want to do it.
I just think it's unprofessional.
I was speculating. Yeah, I mean, maybe, but like, whatever.
Yeah, that's all.
All right. I mean, it might attract more viewers. Who knows?
Probably not.
Based on our demographic?
Yeah,
probably not.
No.
You never know.
You never know. You never know. All right, let's get back into what we were talking about here a moment ago. And I want to kind of break down Freddy Peralta, because that was another top name people talked about that nobody really heard about coming into the weekend. His MLB debut 5 2/3, 13 strikeouts, 1 hit, 2 walks in Colorado. I get it. You've never seen a player before. You've never seen the matchup before. It's tough. Got it. But, Frank, this is like otherworldly here.
He was very, very good yesterday. I do want to kind of throw this out there. Like, we kind of need to stop overrating the Colorado Rockies. Like, yes, you still have to worry when you pitch your pitchers in Coors Field. Absolutely. No doubt about it. But the Rockies are 18th this year in runs scored. So I just want to throw that out there. They are not, to this point, the offense that we've seen in recent years. As for Freddy Peralta, I mean, you mentioned it. 13 strikeouts, 5 2/3 scoreless innings, 19 swinging strikes. 14 of the 21 batters he faced, he threw first pitch strikes to those batters. The thing that I worry about with him is, according to Fangraphs, 90.8% of the pitches he threw were fastballs. With that being said, if you watched his pitching performance, with his fastball, he had very, very good location with it. Like, I know he walked guys in the minor leagues, but the catcher would set up, and he would throw the fastball exactly where the catcher wanted it. And if you just watch that fastball, I mean, he has kind of like different movements on that fastball. I mean, he has one that sinks a little bit. He could ride the fastball up. So while he only throws like 91, 92, 93, he's kind of a smaller guy. I think he is very deceptive in the way that he throws. And when he's throwing within the strike zone, I think he has good location on those pitches. So I don't want to overrate what he did yesterday because I feel like that's what a lot of people are doing. But I think he does have serious strikeout upside. We've seen that in his minor league profile. But I just don't want to overrate it just based on how hard he pitches. Doesn't throw all that hard. He's not that big of a dude. Kind of projected to be like a 3 or 4 in a rotation. So I'm excited about him, but I'm not going to put him in the territory of like Romero that we saw come up recently, Buehler. I think he's a little bit behind those guys.
Yeah, you simply cannot throw just a fastball and be a starting pitcher at the big league level. And to prove that, there is one pitcher who throws their fastball more than 75% of the time in baseball, and it is Bartolo Colon. And outside of that, there's 27 pitchers and qualified pitchers in all of baseball who throw their fastballs 60% or more. I've brought it up on this show before. Last year, since Fantrax started keeping this data in 2002, was the lowest percentage of fastballs thrown because pitchers, while they're throwing it harder than ever, have to mix in their secondary pitches now more than ever. Batters are just, they're better at hitting these high velocity than they have been in years past. So while it was a great outing, it was also very, like, not fluky that what he did, but like the start itself and how he got it. Chase Anderson was sick. He was already projected to pitch in Colorado Springs. Fun fact, his family was already actually in Colorado because they were going to that game. And they were like, all right, well, you're already here. You're just going to drive you over to the park. You're going to start. And he pitched really well. It was supposed to be a one-start thing. I think obviously he's earned another start. And if he continues to pitch well, he will earn more. But I don't think there's any guarantee that he fully, past his next couple of starts when their pitchers start to get healthy, that he has a spot. I think he should because their rotation is pretty trash, but he has to start mixing in those other secondary pitches, or I don't think it's going to work for him as a major league starter.
I do agree that I think he's going to stick in the rotation for now, at least. Chase Anderson, 10-day DL, dealing with an illness. He'll be back very shortly, but Brandon Woodruff in the rotation faced the same Colorado Rockies team on Friday, got absolutely destroyed. Brent Suter, we've seen him before. I don't think he's anything special. So Jhoulys Chacin is actually number 1 on the depth chart for this rotation right now. So if he pitches well, I think he's going to stay in the rotation.
All right, so there you go. That's the latest on him. Not exactly much overly enthusiasm. It wasn't like, go get this guy right now, but all right, we'll see what happens.
No, if he's available, I think he should be added. But, in some leagues, I saw people spend $60, $70 out of a 1,000 fat budget. Yep. I don't think I would have done that.
Okay. And we didn't.
We did not.
So I promise you that you did not do that. Speaking of young pitchers, Jack Flaherty back for St. Louis again. Adam Wainwright back to the DL again. Is Wainwright done? I mean, this is it?
Yes. Okay. I'm not saying he's done as in we'll never see him again because the Cardinals, for some reason, continue to just keep throwing him out there whenever he's healthy. But I think his days of being a fantasy-relevant starting pitcher are behind him. Flaherty, on the other hand, though, has been tearing up the minor leagues. 2.27 ERA. His last outing, he struck out 13 batters in 6 2/3. So if he was dropped for some reason, if the person, if you don't have a minor league spot or whatever, and he was out there, I would pick him up. He's on a 2-start week this week, and I think that he easily has proven that he should be one of their 5 starting pitchers in this rotation.
Yeah, and just looking at his 5 starts at the minor league level this year, I mean, they're stretching him out. They're letting him go deep into games. That last start that Mike mentioned, 13 strikeouts, they let him throw 113 pitches. So this isn't a Walker Buehler situation where he's coming up. He's not throwing a lot of pitches in the minor leagues. This guy is stretched out, and if he pitches well at the major league level, I could see them allowing him to go deep into games. While we're on the topic of Cardinals prospects, starting pitchers, keep an eye on Alex Reyes. I think he should be on your scout team right now. If you're in a deeper league, NL only, obviously, stuff like that, I think you want to stash him right now. This is according to Craig Mish on Twitter. Alex Reyes takes his next step tonight. 67 pitches last week. That number should go up to about 75 to 80 pitches tonight. So I am interested in Alex Reyes. I think he should at least be on your scout team. And if you have some room, try and find a way to make space.
He's eligible May 28th to return from the 60-day DL.
Yep.
Alex Reyes is definitely somebody I want to add. Like I know that stuff is there. I will go a step farther. I don't want the scout team to watch this. I want him on my team now.
Okay.
I'm buying
Just,
in.
you got to stash him for the next 2 weeks. Just
I get
know
it.
that.
I get it.
You'll probably get 100 strong innings out of him this season.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
Yep. So I want Alex Reyes right now. Speaking of the Cardinals, I know you want to talk about this, Mike Florio, and that was Matt Carpenter, who has been benched, or didn't start. I want to say he's been benched. He didn't start 2 out of the last 3 days. What's going on with Carpenter?
No. He hasn't started the last 3 days. 2 of the 3 of them were against a lefty.
Sorry, I read the stat wrong. He hasn't started the last 3 days. Yeah. What's going on here?
He's been terrible. I mean, like
I know that.
You look at his numbers against both lefties and righties. He hasn't been hitting well. I think this was probably them trying to give him a mental health break to figure things out because he has been historically one of their better hitters. But you look at it this year, and he's one of the players I would sit this week if you can. But his numbers are really bad against lefties this year. He's hitting just 159. I'm sorry, against righties. And they play 6 righties this week. And that was the thing that you drafted him thinking at least he can hit right-handed pitching. Because if you remember, last year he barely hit over 200 against lefties. So that was a concern that I had about Matt Carpenter. But on a week like this, you would normally think I could start him with confidence. He's hitting 159 against right-handed pitching this year. That's brutal. He's not really doing much of anything for you. So I think get him out of your lineup until he starts to show you signs of life.
It's so crazy. You look at his batted ball profile right now. His BABIP is 183. Greg, I looked just before the show.
Yeah.
Since 2010, I just wanted to see the lowest BABIP for a full season for hitters, for qualified hitters. Aaron Hill, the lowest BABIP in 2010, 196. His batted ball profile, 54% fly ball rate, 13% infield fly rate, just 31% hard hit contact. This year for Carpenter, 40% hard hit contact, 43.8% fly ball. So he's not hitting the ball in the air as much as Aaron Hill did, and we know that if you typically hit a lot of fly balls, it leads to a low BABIP. 26% line drive rate for Carpenter this year. He has been unlucky. Like, yes, he has struggled against left-handed pitching. He's hitting 091 against lefties. That is brutal. That is terrible. He needs to get better. His expected batting average right now is 245. Right now he's hitting 145. So that's a 100-point difference. He's had a lot of bad luck this season.
But haven't we said
not
that?
all of it
We've
bad
said
luck,
that in the
though.
past, though.
No,
too.
he's striking out more
He's striking
too.
out almost
a lot more.
28% of the time.
He
That's
is
terrible.
But this is bad luck. Like this.
No, I get it.
This is very bad luck too.
But Mike, haven't we said in the past that Matt Carpenter, like, oh, look at all this bad luck, it's going to turn it around? And you were the one that said, listen, it's not all bad luck. Like, he's just not.
If you can't hit against lefties, that's a huge part of baseball. And that he could not hit against lefties last year. That was my concern for this year was, will they find ways to get him out of the lineup? And I think they have because, like, Jose Martinez really stuck at first base. That was something we weren't sure it was going to happen before the year. So now they have more options on the bench that they can bring in place of Matt Carpenter. But, yeah, I agree. And if he's struggling against righties, I'm not going to say that he's this bad because what Frank said is true. And the BABIP will start to normalize. It's not going to finish this year at 136. When you look at it this early in the year, you often see guys jump out like that historically, are going to get better. Matt Carpenter is definitely one of those players. But he's also been really bad. And for a guy who in points leagues you like because he would strike out below career norm and he would walk at a high clip. He's still walking, but 27.9% strikeout rate, a career high in swinging strike rate. He's chasing pitches a lot this season. There's also, some of it is bad luck when he's making contact. Yes, definitely bad luck, but those are also a lot of bad signs.
Yeah, I don't want to paint a rosy picture because you're right. Like, at this point, he's played long enough where if he's striking out this much and he's struggling this much against left-handed pitching, then maybe he's just getting older and fatigue is setting in and he's just not the baseball player he once was. There definitely is a chance of that. But just 2 years ago, he had 270 against lefties. And just based on the batted ball profile, his BABIP, like, I want to bet on the guy is going to get the batting average up. Right now, he's at 145. If he were to get his batting average up to 250 by season's end, that means from here on out, he's probably going to hit close to 300. So I'm just saying, like, if he was dropped in your league or if people are giving him away for nothing, I'm just saying I think that there's better luck to come from Matt Carpenter.
Sure. I want to find the question I was asked about.
And it's very annoying because we have him in GDD, obviously. So
of course
we have suffered from all of this bad fortune. Like, he's been brutal. We are last in batting average. Matt Carpenter is a huge reason for that. So I am frustrated by him, but I feel like just looking at the numbers, he should be better than this.
All right, who would you rather have? Or would you, I'll phrase it this way, would you drop Matt Carpenter for Ryan Healy?
Yes.
Somebody tweeted that at me.
And I'm looking at it now. Matt Carpenter has 22 at-bats against lefties, which shows you that he has missed time against them this year because their team lead is 36. He has 2 hits. Both singles. That's not good.
No, it's not.
No, it's terrible. It's terrible. All right, before we have about 4 minutes before the break, I want to hit on 2 things. I want to get to the Angels closing situation, the White Sox closing situation when we get back from the break. So before we get there, though, a couple of minor injury notes I want to hit on. Number 1, our boy Blake Snell. He had a hip injury that's been bothering him that is a minor deal, according to Kevin Cash. Like, he's expected to make his start on Friday, no problem. And the only thing it kind of affected, according to Kevin Cash, is the reason he took him out early yesterday. It was 4-0. They pulled him after 73 pitches. They're like, you know what? You don't look right. Let's pull you. He's fine, though, to start Friday. How concerned are you, Mike?
I mean, I'm starting him in. You guys know I own him in basically every league that
that's
I don't
why I asked
share
you
with
the
you
question.
guys. I'm starting him in all of them. He's been, even with that bad outing yesterday, the ERA just sits over 3. He's still averaging over a strikeout per inning. And I checked today, he is still a top 20 pitcher in points and roto, despite the bad outing. I keep joking with everyone because yesterday of Mother's Day, I didn't get to watch the Snell start. So the 2 Snell starts I've missed this year were yesterday and when I was in Amsterdam when he struggled against the Yankees. Every other start I've watched, he's been great. So maybe it's a little bad luck when I don't watch.
You are hurting our viewers, Mike. Like, you need to watch Blake Snell.
I was only concerned because this is against the Orioles. They stink.
I mean, they did heat up over the weekend.
And it was the long ball that was his issue.
100%.
So
if anything is ever going to doom him, it's going to be that. He doesn't pitch to ground balls. Like, typically he does he's going to get strikeouts and he's going to give up fly balls. And in the AL East, sometimes that can doom you. Like, as great of a pitcher as you are, Masahiro Tanaka, we've seen, like, he has great stuff, but because you pitch in the AL East, like, you can be great and still give up, like, a few runs just because, like, you get doomed by the long ball. I think as long as the contact that you pitch to is fly balls, you're going to be prone to having some bad outings. Like, Snell has had very, very great ones, but I think he is going to be prone to, like, one blow-up outing every here and then because he pitches to fly balls.
There you go. All right. He wasn't the only pitcher to get hurt or be hurt over the weekend. Rich Hill had to leave his start early due to a blister. We've said that every year for like the last 4 years, that Rich Hill had to leave his start early for a blister. Now, it's not a big deal. He's going to make his next start, we assume, until at 7:07 tonight, he's placed on the disabled list for 10 days. It's like, oh, whatever. And he comes back, and he starts, and the blister hurts him again. Whether it's a blister, whether it's a damn fingernail, whether it's a sprain of some sort, this is the problem with Rich Hill every year. I go to you again, Florio, because coming into the year, at least in the 3 of us, you were the Rich Hill guy because you said, listen, I know he's not going to pitch 200 innings. I know he's not going to pitch 180 innings or 160 innings necessarily. But the innings that I get, let's say 140, they're going to be really, really good. What's happening with Rich Hill is always what happens with Rich Hill. Everything that is literally from the exact injury that he has is predictable. So, with that being said, as the Rich Hill guy, are you cool with what's happening?
Yeah. I think it was too. I'm not cool with it. It's frustrating, but it was to be expected. And he's having basically the season he had last year, getting off to a slow start, dealing with some finger issues. But I think at year's end, his numbers are still going to be great.
Okay, so there you go. So you're satisfied, basically.
I'm sitting him in my weekly league this week because of the risk of it.
Agreed.
But this issue was to be expected.
Okay, we'll come back. We'll break down the Angels closing situation, the White Sox closing situation, and we'll tell you who to bench this week. Stick around. More BFFs after this.
Attention all authors. Page Publishing is looking for authors. Have you written a book and want to get it published? Page Publishing will get your book into bookstores and for sale online at Amazon, Apple iTunes, and other outlets. They handle all aspects of the publishing process for you. Printing, cover art, publicity, copyright, and editing. Call 800-292-8137 now for your free author submission kit. That's 800-292-8137 for your free author submission kit. Again, that's 800-292-8137.
Muscle Maker Grill was made for baseball season. Muscle Maker Grill supplies you with delicious, healthy meals that will give you energy to cheer on your team week after week. Whether you're craving flavorful salad, packed wraps, or guiltless entrees, Muscle Maker Grill has you covered. Hosting a game? No problem. Our catering packages will have your whole team satisfied with flavors ranging from Italian to Tex-Mex and much, much more. Visit MuscleMakerGrill.com for your nearest location and have a winning season.
It's Carton and Friends.
Am I really blacklisted in the league? It's not that they won't trade with you, but
they don't like trade talking.
When they see an offer from you, even before they see the offer, there's skepticism involved.
I mean, that's fair. I mean, there are other guys that happens to as well. I will say this. I think I've gotten better over the years. I think some of the trade offers I've sent out that I've asked you about, I think they've been better.
Frank doesn't run most of his trade offers by me now. He's like, is this bad?
I sent one out the other day where Greg was like, yeah, that's pretty bad.
Weekdays, 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern on FNTSY Radio and on your popular podcast providers.
Skix sneakers are taking over tailgates and alumni homes across America. Skix canvas high top, low top, slip-on, and kids tennis style sneakers designed in officially licensed college colors and logos is a must-have for every college fan's wardrobe. Fun, fashionable, and comfortable. Whether you're at the big game or watching the game at home, Skix helps fans perform better. Go to Skix.com and use promo code FNTSY for 15% off your pair now. That's Skix.com. Skix sneakers, the soul of a true fan.
I know we've talked about the band Sixpence None the Richer before. You don't know them. Do you guys know the movie She's All That? No?
No, of it. I haven't watched it.
No.
I'm not even going to lie.
Bones, did you watch She's All That? All right.
I know this song.
I'm sorry. I only listen to you when you're slathered in baby oil.
I still am, so.
Okay.
You know.
What do you need?
Do you listen? Have you seen the movie She's All That?
Not many. Freddie Prinze Jr.?
Very good.
Why would I have seen it lately?
Well, that was the music from it, so I was just wondering, because obviously these guys have no idea what I'm talking about.
I might have seen it then, not lately.
All right, yeah. I will admit I watch it more than the average person. When it's like on, it's one of those movies I watch because I think it's good.
You've also been covered in baby oil two straight
work days. Yes, I've been covered in baby oil. Yes, and Mike wants me to make it 3
tomorrow. That's officially a streak. You got to make it a streak.
It's a streak already.
You have to do it on FST and go full circle. Just every show you're
and then like somehow go on the Roto Experts, make sure.
Yeah, once a show, every show has to have a baby oiled Greg.
Look at the new thing to make somebody else do.
Worse than
I don't know what it is yet, but like
oil?
I don't think it's that bad. That's why I did it.
Greg, we have an update on the Braves and Cubs game.
Let's do it. Anthony Rizzo grounded out RBI.
Ozzie Albies has hit his 13th home run of the season.
Unbelievable, man.
Do you know he did not hit a double-digit home runs in any level of the minor leagues?
Fly balls, man.
This is the juice ball.
Sure
juice
is.
Ball era.
You know who he's better than? Ozzie Albies. He's better than Rafael Devers.
Ozzie Albies is better than Ozzie Albies.
You knew where I was going.
Look,
with that.
I'm not going to dispute that. As much as I love Rafi Devers, I can't combat that argument.
By the way, if you like what you're hearing, or even if you don't, leave a comment on our podcast wherever you are listening: iTunes, SoundCloud, Spotify, whatever. Subscribe to the podcast. Give us 5 stars, preferably, but give us whatever you think we deserve. We really appreciate it. Leave a comment in our YouTube chat. Like us on YouTube. Like us on Facebook. Wherever, please subscribe, comment, rate, and thank you. Cool. Also, make sure you go to dailyroto.com. Dollar Deal Month continues. We're only halfway through the month, and that means you can still get in for $1. The promo code is $1. ONEDOLLAR. $1, Bob. That is the promo code. Check it out. The closing situations for the Angels and the White Sox are similar to me, in that they're a bit unpredictable at the moment. And in that regard, I've matured. Because instead of guessing and getting angry and frustrated and wasting fab dollars, I'm just saying, I'm good. I'm good. I don't want to get involved. I don't want to invest. And that's how I felt
Probably smart.
I did it last year with the Connor Glover thing. Even though I said I wouldn't do it, I did it. And it sucks. And instead, I'm not saying I was right, but I went in on Sungwon-Oh. And that obviously did not work out. But, like, I'd rather have done that than take a chance at the White Sox where I've done it already. I had Joakim Soria, who didn't pitch for literally 2 weeks. So I'm like, all right, here's Nate Jones, the closer. Drop him. He gets a save the next day. Go to pick him back up. Nate Jones gets the next save. And I'm like, you know what? Screw it. The White Sox stink. And that's how I feel right now with Bruce Rondon, too, even though he picked him up.
No, we didn't. Did we?
Yes,
Yeah, absolutely.
we got him in one
We did,
league.
we
Okay.
did.
Gun for $1.
Yep.
For the Angels, Keenan Middleton seemed to be the guy. I think we were all okay with that. We liked Keenan Middleton. It was awesome. Goes in the DL, comes back. And now Jim Johnson's in the mix. We're doing this thing again. Cam Bedrosian's in the mix. Bunch of guys are in the mix. I'm done, man. I am done.
I think, obviously, these situations are going to be extremely hard to figure out. But I think Bruce Rondon will have his shot until he blows one, and then we won't see him pitch for 3 weeks. Because that's how it goes. Like, Nate Jones, who hasn't been great by any stretch. None of these guys have pitched great. He blew one save the other day. Granted, he gave up 4 runs with a 3-run lead. Not great at all. He's just not at the closer now. Now they're going to Rondon. You look at these guys. Rondon does have the best FIP of the bunch, but he allows the most walks. And Soria, I still believe Soria is the best pitcher of these 3. But this is a team that barely wins, 2 games a week? I'm not going to be wasting my fab in a roster spot on a pitcher who's probably going to give me subpar numbers and hurt my ratios in the hopes of getting 1 save. So while we picked up Rondon for $1,
That's just a speculation.
Yeah, it's all it is. It's $1. That's not much. On the Angels side, things were like kind of maddening before the Middleton injury. On Friday, Jim Johnson in a loss pitched the 9th inning. On Saturday, Middleton did in a tie game. And then yesterday, Middleton was in for the 8th, Johnson in for the 9th. So now you would have to think if you take Middleton out, Johnson gets first crack at it. But Blake Parker picked up the win yesterday in extra innings. And then Cam Bedrosian, when Middleton first went on the DL, got the first crack at saving. So while my money would be on Jim Johnson right now, Mike Scioscia, I'd rather actually take a chance on the White Sox guys, I think, because Mike Scioscia is so tough to figure out.
I agree with you, Greg. I don't really want to get involved with it. If I just have to choose one from each side, I'm probably going to go with Bruce Rondon right now.
Okay.
He's been like the fireballer of the future. I know he came up with the Tigers. Like, we all thought he was going to be a thing. He never was. The guy struggles to throw strikes. His first pitch strike percentage is seemingly terrible throughout his career. It's terrible this year as well. So I don't have much faith, but if I were to choose, I would go with him of the bunch. It should probably be Soria, but for whatever reason, they're going with Rondon. I don't even want to choose somebody from the Angels bullpen. I don't want to do it. I think at some point they go out and make a trade for a closer. That team that is competing should have a lockdown closer. I don't know. Maybe they go out and get a Kelvin Herrera, something like that. They have to make a trade at some point. So I don't even want to do it. I just don't even want to get involved with the Angels. I don't even know who to speculate on. Like, you could speculate on Jim Johnson. He sucks.
Correct.
Jim Johnson sucks.
It's only going to make you more miserable in the end. It's all that's going to happen. Now, other closing situations, we're talking about it. Let's give some updates. Tyler Clippard, who I was vehemently against last week, got the first save, and he pitched the 9th twice over the weekend. Now, he didn't get any more saves. I get that. But he certainly seems to be the preferred guy for John Givens. I don't get it. He's a terrible pitcher. But
they were home this weekend, I believe, and they didn't win. But when you're at home and they tie or you're losing, and it's a close game, your closer typically pitches the 9th inning.
I'm shocked. I am shocked they're going to retire.
I am as well, but it's very telling to me that he was the one that they went to in the 9th inning.
Also of note, Aroldis Vizcaíno, who comes in on Sunday, 2 men were on base, allowed a 3-run bomb, but stayed on to get the save afterwards. I know we speculated on A.J. Minter before the season started. He got a save like 2 or 3 weeks ago, and we're like, it's coming! It hasn't. I still don't think it is. But just of note, that happened. Joe Kelly picked up the save. Craig Kimbrell needed the day off. 4 pitches later, Joe Kelly got the save. I think if you've watched any of the Red Sox, you know that Joe Kelly's the 8th inning guy, so it doesn't come as any surprise to me that he would be the guy if Craig Kimbrell went down. And then finally, when it comes to closers, we've speculated a lot on the Philly bullpen because I know Hector Neris hasn't exactly been lights out by any means. Yesterday, Idubray Ramos picked up the save. And Frank, I believe that was a guy you really liked a couple of weeks back. No?
No, I mean, we were just trying to speculate on the next guy up. We thought it might have been him. We thought maybe Tommy Hunter. So yesterday he got the save. But they also have this kid, Sir Anthony Dominguez. I mean,
Sir Anthony Dominguez?
That's his legit name. It's spelled S-E-R Anthony. One
Really?
word. S-E-R. Sir Anthony
Did not know
Dominguez.
that. Thought we just all right.
He is a
There's a
fireballer.
basketball player named Sir. It wasn't the St.
Something at
John's
St.
player.
John's, right?
Yeah.
It wasn't Sir. It was God's gift, right?
No, there was God's gift, but there was a Sir as well.
There was another guy named Sir.
Yeah.
But pay attention to this kid, Sir Anthony Dominguez. The guy, fireballer, gets a ton of strikeouts, but Edubre Ramos got the save opportunity yesterday. So Hector Neris has been terrible so far this year. There's no way to beat around that. Edubre Ramos probably the next guy up, but keep your eye on Sir Anthony Dominguez. If this guy continues to get strikeouts the way he does and come in high leverage situations, I think maybe there's a chance that they'll give him a shot. But just pay attention to that bullpen right now.
All right, that's the bullpen notes for today. Let's get into the players to sit for this week. Of course, I'm going to start with one question that I have because it's from my team, even though it's not on this extensive list I was given. Andrew Heaney. We talked about him last night, potentially as a free agent pickup. He's a two-start pitcher this week. Pitches against the Astros tonight and the Rays over the weekend. Are you starting him, Mike Florio?
Probably not.
Okay.
It's the second start against the Rays should be great. And Heaney, for what it's worth, he's been picking up strikeouts right now. The FIP is a lot lower than the ERA, but I do get a little worried. Like that one start against Houston can be so bad that it doesn't matter what he does in the second start, if that makes any sense.
So you're out.
If you're in a daily lineup league, though, so I would sit him against Houston.
No, I understand. I'm talking
but in a weekly lineup league, unless you're in a pinch and you don't really have guys that you normally use, then in that case, I would use him.
What about you, Frankie?
I actually own him in 2 leagues, and I'm starting him in both leagues. You look at what he's done recently: 2 straight starts, 6 innings pitched, 2 earned runs against. That was at Colorado. The start before that, 1 earned run against the Baltimore Orioles. He's pitching better as of late over his last 3 starts. Even the start before that against the Yankees, 9 strikeouts in just 5 innings pitched. So I think he's getting better. If you could just get a decent start. If he doesn't blow up against the Astros, if you get like 5 innings, 1 run, I think he'll be fine with that.
Thrilled.
And then whatever he does against Tampa Bay, it is risky against Houston. I don't want to downplay that at all. But in the leagues I own him, I am starting him this week.
All right, so you're starting him. Now, would you rather start Heaney or some of these other 2-start guys this week, including potentially Tyler Mahle, one of our guys we were just discussing during the break? Now, he's not scheduled for a double start, but the Reds do have a double header on Saturday. He should start tomorrow against San Francisco and then Sunday against the Cubs. Frank, are you starting Mahle this week?
I am, but you can just tell by my answer that there is a little trepidation there. He's close with Heaney. Would I start him over Heaney? I don't think I would. I like to start against San Francisco a lot. If you play in a daily transactions league, you put him in that start against San Francisco. I know his first start of the year was actually against the Cubs. That was a very good start, but I really like him much more for that start against the Giants than I do the Cubs. If I do own him, though, in deeper leagues, I think I do get him in there in a double start.
Florio, the question that we have, do you start Tyler Mahle potentially in that double start, or do you start single start Kyle Freeland?
Freeland is at San Francisco, who I do like as a streamer as well.
I would probably roll with Freeland because Mahle against the Cubs, they've been red hot lately. That start scares me.
Especially Anthony Rizzo.
No. Especially
he is
Wilson
grounding
Contreras.
out a bunch. You like that, Craig?
I did it. Yes, especially Wilson Contreras. He's been unbelievable.
Been on fire.
No doubt. Okay, so no more elaboration. All right.
Oh, I thought
Frank,
we were moving on.
I know you're the Freeland guy. Do you want to elaborate? No.
For Kyle Freeland or Kyle Freeland versus Tyler Mahle?
Yes, because that's the decision we have.
I like getting if a guy has 2 starts, we say it often. If you can't start him on a 2-start week, when are you going to use him?
I'll be the deciding vote then. I will putting in Tyler Mahle.
I do like Freeland though. Like if you have a single starting pitcher this week with a tough matchup and he's available, or you picked him up, he's pitched very well over his last couple of starts, and then going against San Francisco, they've been one of the worst offenses all year. Just San Francisco, where offense goes to die, man. It doesn't matter. You get Longoria, you get McCutchen, it doesn't matter. The Giants' offense is still bad.
Other potential streams, say yay or nay, gentlemen. Yay on Trevor Williams.
I threw him in there as like a deep guy. This is purely matchup dependent, going up against the White Sox and I don't know who else because you deleted it.
Padres.
White Sox and Padres. I mean, it doesn't get much better than those two matchups. I think this is just a deeper league stream, though.
Yeah, nothing more than 15-team league. He's been very much so, very lucky this year.
What about Tyler Anderson? Yay or nay?
Yeah, I'd much rather him than Williams.
I agree with Sam. But I do, again, it's against the Giants, it's against the Padres. Those are two teams that you typically want to pick on when you're streaming starting pitchers.
One start against Washington, or against San Francisco, rather, for the Dark Knight.
No.
This is for Mikey.
And you guys know that, like...
HHD!
I'm a big Harvey fan, and I'm rooting for him. I watched this whole outing the other day. Yes, he did touch 96. It was great to see. He was touching 95.8 on the Mets as well, looking back at his max velocity. But he had 2 swinging strikes. The only hit he allowed should have been an out. Scott Schebler lost the ball in the lights, but only 2 swinging strikes, 2 strikeouts in total. To me, it was just more the Dodgers lineup just isn't hitting right now than Harvey was doing anything better than he has been on the Mets. So I still think he's the same pitcher. I'm avoiding.
All right.
Yeah, just threw that in there for S's and G's because he's facing the Giants.
Yeah, I got it. I understand. It was also
There you
Matt
go.
Harvey. You wanted to do it. All right, 5 minutes remaining in the program. Let's talk about some of the players you may want to bench this week. Mets and Yankees each only have 5 games and face 3 lefties each. Michael Conforto, he's going to the bench for you?
Yeah, I'm benching, if at all possible, I'm benching a lot of these guys that I listed for both teams. Like, Conforto is hitting 167 with no home runs against lefties this year. Jay Bruce is hitting 182 with no lefties. Cespedes I would still leave in because he's been hot lately, but he's hitting 138 with 1 home run against lefties this year. And that should not be surprising. He does have reverse splits in his career. Adrian Gonzalez gets benched against lefties. So I'm sitting a lot of those guys if at all possible. Unfortunately for me in one league, I have Conforto and Bruce and the Yankee that I think I would sit as well. Brett Gardner's hitting 188 with 0 home runs. Aaron Hicks is really struggling. Andujar struggled against lefties. Neil Walker. And you're obviously going to use Aaron Judge, but he has not fared great against lefties this year.
Yeah, he will. Don't worry about that.
The one Yankee, though, who's been mashing them, Giancarlo Stanton. 457 average, 7 homers against lefties this year.
Frank and I mentioned it to each other earlier this morning. You look at Stanton lines now. He's batting .250 with 10 home runs. Like, all right.
Yeah.
He's back.
Yeah.
Yeah, 4 for 4
again.
yesterday, gets the batting average up to 252.
Yeah, he's back.
And Drink at home. I retweeted this earlier. Stanton last year on May 13th, 259, 11 home runs, 26 RBI. This year on May 13th, 252, 10 home run, 26 RBI.
How about that?
It's almost like, he hits them in bunches and won an MVP last year. And probably shouldn't get booed after 2 bad weeks.
You know what? Some people expect greatness.
Mike, it's almost like he grew up in warm weather, right? It's something you might have tweeted about Drink at home.
you just want everybody to drink there.
That's right.
Yeah.
Keep drinking.
We do have to mention, Dylan Bundy bounced back.
That he did.
Dylan Bundy bounced back against the Rays. Listen, he was given a monster cushion, but he didn't blow it. Pitched awesomely. Good for Dylan Bundy. Faces the Red Sox this week. You in or out?
I like that he bounced back against the Rays. That's exactly what you want to see after a guy who got blown up in historic fashion to start before that. But at Boston against the Red Sox, he actually has bad BVP data against the Red Sox. It's a thumbs down for me. If you held on to him, I'm still holding him, but I'm not starting him at Boston.
I agree, yeah. I was advocating to hold him. I felt great yesterday seeing him pitch this way, but I'm not starting him against Boston.
Alrighty. Let me move on to one of our players, since this is, again, always about us. Zach Godley facing the Mets. On the road this season, the ERA is over 5. You starting Zach Godley, gentlemen?
Yes.
Yeah, I actually threw this
Yes,
one.
for me too.
I threw this one in here. I know the Mets offense hasn't been great. It's actually in the middle of the pack against right-handed pitching at home over the last 7 days. I looked at all of those things, but I actually am benching him in one league for Andrew Heaney. I mentioned that. So hopefully it works out, but I just looked at those home road splits. He has struggled on the road. I'm gonna stay away from him. He hasn't been great lately.
If you're having questions on who to start, it's based on games. The Mets and the Yankees, as we said, play 5 games, but so do the Nats. The Nats have a 2-game series against the Yankees tomorrow or Wednesday, and off Thursday, and they play for the weekend. Those are their 5 games this weekend. So if you have any questions, Nats, Yankees, and Mets, they have 5 games, something you definitely want to notice.
Yep.
By the way, Luis Castillo, so much better, I believe.
I want to say, told you so. Told you so.
There you go. Mike Florio, any final words?
No.
All right, cool.
Yeah, that's it.
Appreciate it.
That's it.
For Mike Florio.
He just throws me on the spot.
Frankie Stampfl, my name is Gregg Sussman. Thank you so much for watching the Fantasy BFFs. And we will do it all again tomorrow. We hope.
Does your fantasy team suck? Maybe you need us, the Fantasy Sports Radio Network, the only free 24/7 fantasy